Hi, my name is Barbara Wiseman, and I want to tell you just a little bit about the experience that we had with Dr. Annie Forsland when we had to put our dog down. We had a beautiful, handsome guy who was 130 pounds. He was an unusual breed. He was a Gamper. Most people have never heard of a Gamper. We hadn't heard of a Gamper until about halfway through the many years that we had him. We found out that he was a breed different, a rather rare breed, different than what we thought we had. Anyway, he was a total character and a real part of the family, and we loved him enormously. At the end of his life, he lived with us. He had a good, long life, but he was having terrible hip problems and was getting very old and was in pain all the time. And the last few days of his life, he was getting to the point where he couldn't stand. And so, although it was heartbreaking, we knew that it was time to let him go. And so my husband called Dr. Forsland because he'd been working with her a bit on some other programs. And she was so dear and so sweet, and she was, incredibly compassionate. And the thought of putting him down, his name was Sensei, in a place outside of the home, in a hospital or a vet clinic or something like that. I just couldn't even stand the idea of him having to go through that and being in a place that he wasn't familiar with, and having that be the last few moments of his life was not what I wanted to have happen. So Dr. Forsland came over to the house, and she walked my husband and I through the process. She was so, I was very upset about the whole thing, but trying to put a brave face on it. But she could tell that it was a very emotional time for us, and she was wonderful, and took great care at doing everything in a way that we understood what was happening while it was happening. And the Sensei was not in any he was at home and calm and and glad to be with us. He obviously didn't really know what was going on at the time, I don't think, but he was glad to be at home, and so out in the backyard, we went through this process and put him down. And so it was a very easy thing for him and not at all traumatic. And as a matter of fact, he went out doing the one thing that he loved more than anything else, which was licking a spoon of peanut butter. And which was a great way for him to go if you knew him. Anyway, I just want to thank Dr. Forsland for the wonderful care that she gave both Sensei and us in going through that process, and it was very meaningful, and made that particular duty that had to be done something that was very confrontable and not a horrible experience. So thank you very much, Dr. Forsland.